Hello, everybody. Welcome to Mubarak's podcast. This is Hashmad Mubarak, your host. I'm so happy to introduce our incredible guest today, Dunya Yousufzai. She's a software engineer who studied at Kabul University and now works at a Swiss company in Switzerland. But beyond her impressive career in tech, Dunya is also an accomplished author. Her first book, Manham Insanasam, or I'm Also Human, was originally published in Dari and later released in English through a US based publisher. Her voice, both in code and in writing, carries the strain and the spirit of Afghan women everywhere. Dunya, welcome to Mubarak's podcast. It's truly honor for us to have this conversation with you there.
Thank you so much, dear Mubarak. I'm pleased to be here. Thanks for having me. And of course, I will be happy to share a quick story about my experience.
So let me start from here that as we all know that in Afghanistan today, girls above grade 6 are banned from school, barred from universities, and even forbidden from online courses. This isn't just a restriction, as we all know. It is a systematic erasure of minds. The current regime are not only banning education, they're trying to reprogram the entire generation into silence. And yet here you are, an Afghan woman, a software engineer, and a published author living and working in Switzerland, building systems, writing ideas, and keeping your mind wide open. I also begin from this contrast, this painful but powerful contrast. So, Dunya, what does it feel like to code in freedom while your sisters back home are banned from learning the alphabet?
Okay, well, so I'm not sure how one defines freedom, but for me, my heart is heavy that knowing that girls right now they cannot go to the school, they're not allowed to work, they're denied to make their own decision. So I don't feel free. And my mind is burdened with thousands of thoughts, carrying a weight of responsibility like, what can I do? How can I fulfill my role? Or at the very least, help one person. But here's what I want my people to understand, that coding is not just, or like, it's not reserved for those with elite degrees. Programming is one of the most democratic skills that all of us can learn. If we have curiosity and persistence, we can start and learn from home on our own terms. But here, I would like to say that yes, the guilt is true, but I have learned how to transform that guilt into purpose. The fact is that right now I have the freedom to code, but this is not personal. It is more political, because with every line of code, with every digital door, we can open several ways. And
Yeah.
at the same time, if I have to say that my keyboard and my pen, they're my tools of resistance.
Of course. But as I have said before, that you have written a book, I'm Also Human. You know, that title alone speaks volumes. It's not just a sentence, I think. It's a declaration, a demand, or a cry that should never have been made. But in Afghanistan today, girls and women are being treated as if they are not human at all. Something very sadly and painful for everybody. But your book came out at the time that when Afghan women were still, protesting in the streets, where their voices were still echoing globally. It stood as both literally and work and a political statement. Can you tell me what inspired that title, that I'm Also Human? What kind of response it received, especially from young Afghan women and girls who may have felt hear your words?
So the title came from a place of deep frustration and assertion. When you lose your right as a human, your basic right, and at the same time, when you lose the right to exist as an equal being. So when your humanity is questioned, so sometimes you need to obviously vividly tell that I'm also a human. The book is not only for Afghan women, although Afghan women are at its heart, but it is for women everywhere, like those who have been silenced, those who have had their humanity diminished, those who have been told that they're not good enough, but especially for my Afghan sisters, that they need to hear that their voices, their dreams, their intelligence matter. And regarding response, obviously, the response has been overwhelming. I received lots of good words from the different groups of people. Some told me that it was like a language for them, for their feelings that they couldn't express. Some said that it is for them, they understood that they're not alone in that struggle. So overall, the book is like a connection across distances and circumstances. But the nicest, the sweetest part for me that I have received a lot of kind comments from my fellow countrymen,
Mhm.
and they appreciated the book because the book talks about women and also briefly touch on men too, that kind of they understand each other, and about women's rights, about violence against women, not only in Afghanistan, around the world.
Honestly, I didn't read it yet, but I have to give it a read. But coming what you're doing right now, that many people are saying that of code as a cold, logical, emotionalist. But as you have said before, and also I personally strongly believe that a code is like words can be revolutionary in a world where physical classrooms are closed, where libraries are shut down, and digital world still has a crack of light. There are Afghan girls, secretly learning online using VPNs and reading PDFs, even building apps from behind closed doors. You are someone, who lives at the intersection of technology and storytelling. That you know that the power of keyboard, as you have said before, and both in code and in writing. So, Dunya, do you think that software and digital innovation can be used as a quiet act of rebellion?
Absolutely. As you said, code is poetry, and like all other art, it can be revolutionary.
Mhm.
Right now, the Taliban's regime tries to control information, but digital innovation can definitely become our underground railroad. So, right now, women that are in exile, especially we, carry a deep responsibility to build encrypted communication channel using our platform to raise awareness and, most importantly, support those who are still inside of Afghanistan. I have personally helped many girls to learn and will continue helping girls to learn, and at the same time, especially in the field of software engineering. But I have to tell you that the internet does not recognize borders or burqas. I mean that our rebellion is measured in bytes and bandwidth.
Mm-hmm. But you have talked about freedom also in your previous talk that many of us celebrate freedom, but freedom isn't always easy. We have to understand it.
Yeah.
This often comes with guilt, loss, and separation, as we have seen it in the last 100 years history of Afghanistan. Many Afghan women, abroad carry a heavy weight, as you have said before, and I completely understand them, as I have talked with many of them, like you. They are free, but far from home. They are safe, but still wounded. You have made it to Switzerland, and you're building a life with dignity. But I imagine that wasn't an easy road for you. It wasn't an easy journey for you. I'm sure that there are girls who look at you and think that she made it, but maybe they don't see the whole picture. Now, in here, I would like to hear from you. That could you share that what it truly took for you to reach where you are today, and what it means emotionally and mentally to survive as a free Afghan woman in exile?
In fact, I have to tell you that when you immigrate, especially from a war-torn country like Afghanistan, so you have to rebuild everything from zero or from nothing. You lose yourself. But at the same time, I have to admit that I immigrated legally, but I just survived.
Oh.
And this survival is a daily battle. You know, that during my very vulnerable time, fighting a tumor, fighting for my place in a new world, I just realized a very profound
So, when was the
fact that
exact year that you traveled to Switzerland?
in 2022, I believe that I left Afghanistan. Yeah.
Illegally. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So while I was fighting for my place in a new world, I realized that I had no more identity. I mean, the person that I was in Kabul can no longer exist in Switzerland. I have to create a new person. So during this construction time, while I was really literally fighting for my health, for my surgery, and for dealing with the trauma of leaving everything behind, my dreams, my desires, my homeland, but I understood my purpose during that time, that I have to become a source of strength for thousands of others that they need me. And of course, it has a very huge impact. It's an immense mental toll. Carry a survivor guilt and at the same time identity problem and the pressure to succeed, not just for yourself, but for the people that you defend and you stand with them. So it's like carrying hope, and that hope is will become your fuel.
To be honest, people like you, and you are a source of hope for millions of Afghan girls who are living inside Afghanistan. By the way, by coming to Kabul University, where you studied software engineering at Kabul University, a place that is now mostly off limits to women and young girls. That dream for millions of Afghan girls has now been frozen in time, sadly. But somehow you didn't let it die. You carried your education like a flame and took it across borders, something that I'm proud of, to be honest. And those people who are hearing this podcast will be proud of that. And that's not just a personal story. I'm sure that it can be as a symbol. It's a message to every girl sitting in the dark right now. Looking back at your time at Kabul University, and comparing it to your life right now, what message would you give to young Afghan girls who still dream, even when their world has collapsed?
Okay, so I can tell them that your dreams are not naive, they're acts of resistance. It means that every girl right now who continues to have a dream for the
Mhm,
future, they're already winning against those who want to erase their potential and their future.
mhm,
But when I was at Kabul University, I thought that I knew what resistance or what struggle meant. But now I understand that the struggle can be destroyer and creator. So all I can say for them is that your current circumstances are not your final destination. Hold on that truth.
mhm. We often talk about resistance as a something loud, protests, speeches, breaking news, but sometimes resistance is quiet, sometimes it's just showing up, writing, creating, coding, healing. Like what you're doing right now, you're coding, you're writing, and you're sharing your research with millions of girls inside Afghanistan. As an Afghan woman living abroad, working in a thick and telling stories, you're not, shouting, but you're still resisting. But there is something powerful about, reclaiming your voice in a world that told you to be silent. So today in Switzerland, far from the broken street of Kabul, what does your resistance look like?
So I can say that yes, today I can freely walk in the streets of Switzerland, while I know that my people, the girls in Afghanistan back home, they're not even allowed to show their faces. So I cannot stay silent here. And my resistance here is to write their stories when they themselves cannot write.
Mhm,
But the thing that really keeps me awake at night and fuels my daily fight is that, just this week I received a message from an Afghan woman. She lost her husband and his family is forcing her to leave the children. And at the same time, another message from another girl that I received, the same girl, like the same age as mine, with the same dreams. She forced into marriage due to financial restrictions.
mhm.
Right now, she is trapped, she is under the pressure, and her future obviously is not known. But the thing is that sometimes my friend they worry about my writing because they find my pain too raw. Like they think that it's too raw, it's too public, but they forget that I'm a writer and I choose my theme based on the requests that I receive, based on real, ongoing truth and facts that right now we all deal with them. So when I can write, when I can raise awareness, why should I use my platform, what my voice, my strength, like my talent for this, in order to stand and defend women's right. So all I can say that one line of quote, one story, and of course an act of remembrance at the time can have a huge impact. So we should not let the world, or not only inside Afghanistan, but the world to forget Afghan girls.
Yes, of course, our vices are our weapon. The only thing we have just left is our vices. Someone is telling stories globally, someone is writing, someone is coding, someone is, curating. But we have to be proud of you guys, and actually we are. And once again, thank you for joining us there, Dunya. And at the end, if there's anything that I have missed and you would like to tell your sisters inside Afghanistan, outside Afghanistan, Mike is yours. You can tell them.
Okay, in fact, I would like to thank you and I want to give you as a great role model an example that as an Afghan guy who is here to defend Afghan girls' rights. So all the time we have this mindset that only girls defend other girls, but no, we have our countrymen by our side, and this is such a great pleasure for all of us.
Thank you. It's your kindness, and we hope to have you in future episode. It was a great conversation. Thank you.
Thank you so much.